This is the value of wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
See now. Okay. Are we here? Are we live? I think we're live now. Oh, let me turn this up. Maybe that's everything. Let's try this again. This is Value Wrestling. This is your Collision review live. So you probably didn't hear me say anything a while ago. I'm waiting to see if this is going to be hearing anything. Okay. You know me. I'm the one. I'm the only. I'm the big time. And of course, right here with me is the one, the only.
Paulus.
So. Yep. We are up and running. So if you're hearing some echoing, it's okay. Good. All right. Now it sounds like we're live and in charge. We had technical difficulties moments before coming online. That's why we're a few seconds, minutes late. Hey, it is life, and life shit happens. Is that you in the background I hear?
Could be.
Okay. I can hear myself echoing us all. All righty. We are here. We're going to get everything kind of up and running and make sure we are sounding good like we should. And here we are. Okay. Get off my screen. I didn't ask you to send me crap like that. But anyways, we are here, and we are here for Collision, AEW Collision tonight. The title match of title matches. We got to see MJF go one-on-one with Kenny Omega for the AEW World title. And that was what tonight's show was pretty much built on. But we will start from the beginning. Tonight, we started off with Switchblade Jay White with the rest of Bullet Club Gold, taking IR Fox. A good match. They let Fox get a lot of upper offense on. They tried to make you believe that Fox was going to win. I just never bought it, never cared to. It was just kind of like, I don't know why. Eventually, Jay White gets a, what was it? Jay White goes in. Oh, he misses the 450, and then we get a half Nelson suplex by White. It's delivered, and then into the Blade Runner for a 1-2-3. The match lasted 10 minutes, 50 seconds. Jay White going over. It was a match. They made AR Fox look decent. They let them show off some of it, but I mean, they really tried to sell this thing as a like AR Fox had a chance, and I was just like, no, there's no chance there. So Jay White gets the win. Your thoughts on the match? Sure.
Like I said, it was a good match, but I look at the way that they use AR Fox, and like I said off air to you, he's basically AEW Ricochet. Fantastic, talented high flyer, but used to put other people over.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if I'm even in the mood to get AR Fox since they did that weird heel turn on him, and then they turned him right back babyface like days later. I think it was. It wasn't even like a week later. It was like shows later. I think he was heel on Dynamite and face by the end of Collision, and I was just like, okay. So, anyways, MJF is here. Oh yeah. Okay, so the end of the match, MJF comes dressed out in his hoodie. He tries to steal his title back and doesn't steal his title, and then he runs away from Bullet Club. I don't even know how to feel about that. I'm like, he couldn't figure out how to steal his title back, and then he ran all the way. Like, I get it. There's 4, there's 1. It wasn't a highlight.
That's why you run like hell. He had the title in his hands. All he had to do was run.
Yeah, I just felt like it made MJF look stupid in the end. It was just kind of like, okay, why wouldn't you have like done that in the middle of the match, grabbed that thing and ran as quickly as you could? I don't know. Anyways, we got a backstage statement or segment with the Acclaim. They, of course, want to tell you they've been champions for 62 days. Okay, next Saturday on Collision, they're going to have National 69 Day. Of course, Max claimed that he got a text from MJF, and they said he was catfish, so they made him go stand in the corner and toss his phone to the side. So yeah, and then Max admitted to sending the catfish pictures. So very weird storyline going on here. I don't know how to feel about it. I like the Acclaimed. I know they say everybody loves the Acclaim, but that love's starting to fade with some of the ridiculousness and just, I don't know. Your thoughts, sir?
What I want to know is, Anthony Bowens is supposed to be the not that sexuality really matters in professional wrestling, but Anthony Bowens is supposed to be the homosexual. Why do they have Max Caster sound like he's in love with Max or some shit?
See, I was completely
with their words.
That's what I thought. I thought Max Caster was the one, and then there or not. Anthony Bowens was the one, and Max Caster wasn't the one, but Max Caster was going after it. I'm so confused by the whole storyline. I'm just kind of over it. I look at Billy Gunn, and I'm kind of like, aren't you like 60 now, and you're still making sexual innuendo jokes? I know it's him. It's always been him, but I'm like, even for us, we make our jokes, but we also kind of gotten over some of the ridiculousness. I mean, there's some things we wouldn't say today that we used to say. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh.
So,
yeah. Absolutely.
Anyways, then we went back to the ring, and the Bullet Club Gold was still out there, and the boys came out with Dalton Castle, and the boys took on the Ass Boys. So the boys versus the Ass Boys. So you had a bunch of boys in the ring playing around with one another.
Exhibit A.
Yeah. Anyways, well, they set that one up too much. You had the boys with the Ass Boys, and the boys got to play with the boys. And anyways, the Ass Boys hit a 310 to Yuma for 1, 2, 3. This match was predictable from the get-go. Another one of those, okay, what was the point? There was nothing to get excited about. It was a match. It filled time. It was a match.
It was not meant to be story-driven. It was meant to be busy work to pad their records and say, hopefully when they're ready to give them a story, they have some argument towards it.
So from there, we got the recap of the Omega MJF hype video that if you didn't watch Rampage, which Tony Khan said everybody watch Rampage because it was one of the best Rampages of 2023. So I guess it was so good he had to replay the same video package he played last night of MJF, and it was the same video package. I'm just like, cool, yay. Anyways, then we got a video. We got Downhouse video time. Downhausen, yay. Then Lexi Nair was in the backstage area with Hollywood Hunk, Ryan Nemeth. And my instant reaction was, oh, the guy who just got squashed with one powerbomb. It took one powerbomb to put him out of the match. It took him one single powerbomb. And now I'm supposed to think he's important. Well, then they went even one step further. They had him knock on the door of C.J. Perry. And, of course, Miro opens the door. He asks for Perry. Miro's like, yeah, come on in. And then Miro attacks him. So I'm sure either on Dynamite, Rampage, or Collision the next week, we're going to get to see Miro beat Nemeth. So I don't even know. I don't know. I would think that you would want Nemeth to look somewhat decent if you're trying to maybe persuade Dolph Ziggler or Nick Nemeth, as he is now known, to come to AEW. I don't think you just like make his brother look like I don't know. Your thoughts, sir?
Fool. Again, it's just more busy work storyline as opposed to an actual story. I don't even know how to describe it.
I,
It's like because they can continue with vignette beatdowns. They can give Ryan Nemeth a match with Miro, although we just know that Miro will go over. So I don't know what to make out of this one.
who did Ryan Nemeth piss off so bad to be? You go watch BTE and see some of the stuff that he's in, and you think, oh, it's something different. But then you see him over here, you're just kind of like, yeah, he just feels like the punching bag of the whole thing, like
the company.
Yeah, from being on the Elite to being just in some of the weirdest stuff. That's just like, okay, I don't know, I don't know, I don't. Anyways, then we can go into the match that was just the Fright Night fight. Hikaru Shida took on Abaddon. It looked like a dollar store version of a WWE Halloween street fight. I'm sure we're going to see this type of my fight on either Monday or Friday. I think there's a Halloween street fight, which will be a little bigger, but it looked like somebody, they had one of those Halloween buckets, one of those pumpkin buckets that looked like a kid, got their Happy Meal at McDonald's, the Halloween pails, and like somebody's parent took it from them and said, oh, we need that for a match. I'm going to say this is nothing against the performers in the ring. Though I didn't get Shida's evening gown dress thing. I don't know if she was in a costume or why she came out in that outfit to wrestle a match. I know Mr. Clarke here is a fan of Abaddon. I don't know enough about Abaddon to judge or make any assumptions, but if I were to make an assumption from the night, I'd be like, ugh. But again, me and him have discussed this. I don't blame them. I don't blame the wrestlers in this match. This match was booked terribly. We had styrofoam gravestones. We had they were beating each other with bones, and bones were being beaten. We had a Abaddon crawl under the ring in a hornswoggle skit, and then the Sheeta standing on the outside looking at the fans going, huh? What? I don't know. I guess she was doing her best Dora Explorer impression, trying to figure out where Backpack was or something. I don't know. It was just... Well, she was standing like, huh? And they're all like, behind you. It was like a super... Oh, my God. This match was deplorable. It would definitely rank up there, probably one of the worst matches of this year. Abaddon. And then you had you had Sheeta jump off the top rope. You had her jump off the top rope riding a broom. And I saw it coming a mile away. She climbed up on the top rope with the broom, and I'm like, please tell me she's not going to ride that off the top rope. No, she really did. I don't know. Whoever booked this ought to be fired. I'm sorry. I don't know how. That's just insulting to me. This is what you think of your women's division, Tony Khan, that you're going to have one of your women put her broom between her legs and feel like she's going to fly off the top. I'm being nice. I mean, I'm trying to... Then Abaddon came out with a baseball. They made a Sting and Chris Jericho reference about it all. Sheeta wound up hitting her head off the turnbuckle. Then there was a candy. They dumped candy in the ring. They took a bucket, the pail, the Halloween pail from McDonald's, and dumped it out and had candy. And even the announcers go, oh, the fans thought it was going to be tax. Sometimes it's a trick and sometimes it's a treat. Oh, I wanted to slap them all for that stupid comment. And then we got Sheeta hit. Sheeta hit the blockbuster right on Abaddon onto the candy. But I don't know.
Yeah.
They traded pinfalls. Eventually, Sheeta whacked her with the kendo, and then nails her. Oh, and then she puts the pumpkin start coming in the ring, and then she places a pumpkin on her head, on Abaddon's head, hits her with the katana spinning kick, gets the 1, 2, 3. This thing went on for 10 minutes. That was probably about 9 minutes too long. This was straight garbage for your women's title. For the people in this match, Sheeta is way better than this. I don't know enough about Abaddon. I will let Mr. Clarke kind of fill everybody in on why this match was probably even beneath her. This was not acceptable. I'm sorry, Tony. This was not acceptable. I'll give the floor to Mr. Clarke.
Now, it's never going to be my job to sell you on who to like.
No.
Personally, I like Abaddon. When Elevation and Dark was the thing, because first of all, she did better acting than what was shown tonight. her makeup is usually more on point. This was kind of a watered down, generic makeup that she did tonight. I didn't understand. Then you go back to Cheetah's dress. I'm like, a lot of the presentation made no sense to me either. But when you go back and look at some of her past work, just in AEW, like, he can wrestle a good match. He can. I think what makes me a fan personally is more her facial expressions, when to sell certain things, etc. So tonight, if you're a first-time fan of watching a match of Abaddon's, I understand if it didn't sell you on it. I've got no problem there. But because I do have a longer history of watching her, I give it more of a pass than, say, a first-time fan might. And that's just what it is to me.
I'll give a pass to the people to Sheeta and Abaddon. I'll give them a pass in that. The people who made this match, who booked this match, who thought this match, I don't know. I thought Vince McMahon booked this. I really thought this was a Vince McMahon chart. John Laurinaitis, because we had an evening gown, we had crap all over the ring, we had spider web. The moment they started showing the ring, I'm just like, oh my god, this feels like a fifth grade. Like, this feels like some kiddie cartoon thing we were about to get, and then it turned into I don't even know what it turned into. I was done by the time.
When you look at past Halloween matches in WWE, they can get just as goofy, just as cartoonish, if you will, but the wrestling aspect is usually good enough to make it passable.
Yeah,
and that's where it's kind of like, like I said, if you're just basing off of this one match, I understand.
No, in WWE we can do horrible street fights and Halloween gimmicks and Christmas gimmicks and all that stuff, and we laugh at it. And then again, I think WWE's made us expect, oh, this is what we're going to get. When Tony Khan comes out and does something, it's kind of like, oh. And then it's like, not only that, if this would have been a men's match, maybe we would have looked at it differently. But it being a women's match, and we're already telling Tony Khan he doesn't know how to book his women's division, and then he books a match for the women's title. And again, I don't think a major title has ever been on the line. Well, maybe. I don't know how often, but maybe. I would have to go back and look, but I don't know how often in a fight like this in WWE a title's on the line. It might have been
Granted,
that.
Usually it's just between either a tag team or one-on-one, and usually the title's not on the line.
And this is supposed to be your AEW women's title, so it doesn't help the image of the title either. So, I mean, in the end of that match, we got Tyme with Toni Storm, so maybe that made up for it because she came out and pulled the top off the announce table, laid on the announce table, and ate something, but you can't tell what it was because she's in black and white. Everything else in the world's in color. I don't know. So hopefully they have something good planned for Toni Storm going forward because that's about the only thing interesting in the women's division right now. Then we got a video package with Keith Lee, Shane Taylor. They keep building up that story. It was a good video package. I don't think there wasn't much to say. Anything you want to add to that? Because I know you're a bigger fan of that stuff.
I was finally surprised. Like, they're finally telling at least a little bit of their history, even though they're not getting real detailed about it. Just about like, okay, yes, they've known each other. They used to be under the same freaking banner in Ring of Honor, the previously owned Ring of Honor. I was just like, why did it take them this long to get to this point?
I don't know. It was a good segment. It was interesting, but I don't know. For me, I'm kind of like, still wasn't drawn in because I'm kind of like, they really haven't done anything with Keith Lee and they want to do vignettes. So hopefully it builds to something that pays off, but we'll wait and see. Samoa Joe defended the Ring of Honor World Champion against a former Ring of Honor World Champion and Rhett Titus.
Yep.
Oh, TV title, yes. Yeah, World TV. Somebody didn't do this right. Somebody said the Ring of Honor World Championship instead of TV champion. That's why I'm reading from notes. Anyways, Samoa Joe defended the TV title against a former Ring of Honor TV champion in Rhett Titus, and I don't even think you can say this was a defense. This was a squash. 2 minutes, 5 seconds.
Basically.
Titus taps out to the Kikina clutch. I think that poor fool was tapping out before it was even synced in. Joe retains his title. Joe does Joe stuff. Not much to say about that. Anything you want to add?
Titus, they did him dirty tonight. Again, I understand Joe going over because that's the story. To go after MJF, et cetera, et cetera. So of course Joe needs to win. But they could have made a 34-minute match at least. Give Rhett Titus a little bit of defense or offense, excuse me.
Yeah. Then we went backstage with Renee and QT Marshall and QT TV. They announced something about some new musical thing that I didn't really care about. And then QT did his little I want to take on the cruiserweights because this is the place where the greatest cruiserweights are. I almost thought at one point he was going to say I want the luchadors. Yeah.
I don't remember hearing anything about cruiserweights.
Sorry, I'm used to calling them cruiserweights. Anyways, he wants to take on all the best luchadors. He's here because this is where the best luchadors are. I thought he was almost going to say this is where the place where the big boys play. I'm just waiting for the day that they say that. I mean, how many more similarities? I guess they got to start turning their colors to purple and yellow too. Time.
We don't know anything about that.
No. So he holds the title, the AAA title there, and he's going to take on the luchadors because the best luchadors in wrestling are in AEW. So
okay, now let's be fair. It's the AAA Latin American title.
Well, I don't know what the title is. Oh, okay, they're a AAA Latin American title. Okay.
Because like their heavyweight is the mega weight or some mega something. Because Kenny Omega had it back when he was the belt collector.
Yeah. So from there, we got Claudio Castagnoli telling us about Bryan Danielson has a broken orbital bone. Nigel McGuinness made a great comment that Bryan Danielson should dress up for Halloween as Glass from Unbreakable because he's like Glass, which kind of stings there because it seems like Bryan Danielson's getting hurt a lot. Anyways, it was either from a Rainmaker or it was from an orange punch that broke his orbital bone, and Claudio told Okada that he will see him here. He will see him in Japan. He's going to go hunt down Okada, but he doesn't have to hunt down Orange Cassidy. He's going to see him next week, and he's honestly frightened. He honestly frightens himself because he doesn't know what he's going to do to Orange, but he's going to hurt Orange for hurting one of them. Great little promo segment. We'll have to see what happens. Anything you want to add to it?
Was what it was, and keep rolling.
All right. From there, we got Ricky Starks versus Dax, the Axe, Harwood. Of course, the lights went out before the match even began. I didn't know if this was actually like a technical difficulty thing for a moment at first. Then I was like, oh, here's the House of Black. So they did tell us the House of Black was going to be on the show. They never said they were going to be in action, so I think a lot of people were disappointed that we just got the House of Black standing in the audience for most of this. Dax and Ricky had a really good match. It was back and forth. They were all over the place, doing lots of great stuff. Eventually, we had, where are we? There we go. Dax goes outside to take you. Okay, Dax hits a power driver and gets the 1-2. Big Bull pulls Dax off of him and outside. So Dax and Cash Wheeler are out there yelling at him. Eventually, Dax gets back in and Ricky hits his own power driver and gets the 1-2-3. 12 minutes, 40 second match. Ricky Starks wins. So Ricky Starks is in there ringing, and then the lights go out. Here's Julia Hart. The lights go back out again, and now the House of Black in the ring. They're staring down the tag team champions, or at least that's what you think they're doing. Then they basically turn to take on FTR. And in the most bizarro world of, I don't know, I guess we entered the world of bizarro. I don't know what door we walked through, what parallel universe we decided to do Collision tonight, but LFI, and I'm not going to try and pronounce their name. If you know how to pronounce it, go ahead.
La Facción Ingobernables.
There you go. Something like that.
That's how we say LFI.
LFI. Of course, it's Rush Dralistico and Preston Vance. They head down to the ring, and then they start staring down FTR, and you thought, well, okay, FTR is going to get beat down by everybody. No, but no. They turn and start attacking the House of Black. And then you're like, that makes sense, right? I don't know.
Sarcasm.
I thought they were like the Mexican cartel and they were supposed to be this bad group that was just kidnapping other people and trying to, I don't know. Anyways, that happened. Your thoughts, sir?
Like you said, that happened. The moment we saw it on screen, I texted you. I was like, are they trying to turn LFI face? They make no sense as a face. There is no reason for them to turn face, especially between their time in the ring before, their vignettes since. It's very confusing. And I don't buy them as faces. You have to give me a reason to buy into it, and they
The last time I remember,
unless the point is to show who is the baddest faction. So at most, that would put them as tweeners, I guess. At least for the initial second here.
they looked like they came out to save FTR. I don't know. I thought they were some.
Well, that was the function. That's certainly the function.
Last time I saw them, they were kidnapping two guys and trying to. I don't know. It looked like a cartel hit. I was trying to figure out what that was, and now here they are going out to the House of Black. I mean, you could go in that direction, but I don't know. Of course, after that, we got Lexi Nair in the back with Andrade El Idolo, and she's like, "Oh, you know those people. You used to have business with them." And then talks about him having business with CJ Perry, having business with LFI, how it's all vexing Andrade. Andrade says he's a businessman, and then he basically leaves. I don't know if the interview did anything for any importance. It was just kind of a weird segment. That I guess it was just getting
it was more about saying, I ain't telling you anything.
Oh, so they did Andrade is going to be AEW's Logan Paul. Since Logan Paul did the same thing just the other night, basically, like, oh, I can take your mic, you just keep, yeah. Anyways, then we came back from another break. Lexi Nair was backstage with Chris Statlander, Will Nightingale, and Sky Blue. Chris asked what happened to them in the four-way dance, and then they go back and forth into pretty much the same issues as the night before from Rampage before they ever went to the match. It was all the same thing, and they talk about what's going on between Sky Blue and Julia Hart. And Sky Blue is basically whatever I have to say to her is between me and her. And she walks off. The only thing that was a benefit is we got to see Sky Blue on TV. Otherwise, it was just a waste of air. I don't know, fill time, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Verbally, it was nothing. There was nothing. It added nothing to the story. But
you got to see Sky. You got to see Sky Blue. I know. Anyways, then we got the other squash matches. Claudio Castagnoli beat the bottle of hot sauce to death. That match lasted 40 seconds. Hot sauce, Tracy Williams, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy named Hot Sauce took on Claudio Castagnoli, and it was, I don't know. Huge Rainmaker like clothesline.
What is Tony Khan doing with the former Ring of Honor talent? Tracy Williams was never, a main event guy, but he deserves better than what he got tonight. A bunch of former ROH talent has been on this show tonight that deserves better. I just don't understand what Tony Khan's doing.
But wouldn't Claudio Castagnoli be a former Ring of Honor talent beating another former Ring of Honor talent?
Yes.
So 40 seconds.
Tracy Williams exactly. The fact that Tracy Williams got beat, no problem. Claudio should have gone over, no problem. It's the way that
40 seconds
going over. It's like, yeah. What more can you say? But 40 seconds.
Yep. In the post match, then Claudio puts William into the label lock. So there's that. Ay caramba. It's hard to say because this show really, for the show that this was supposed to be, I don't think he did anything to build up to the main event. Like it just feels like a lot of filler stuff to get to the main event. Like, and
disagree.
If you would have put the title match on first, people would have given him crap for giving the title match first. But then again, it feels like he didn't know how to book the show. He just put a whole bunch of filler crap in here. It has no purpose. Like, I guess he didn't want anything taken away from the main event because he didn't really put any big names against one another like he normally does on Collision. He didn't book this to be a hot show throughout. He did book the women's title match, but then that match was what looked good on paper just turned into a horrific, just no good, nothing. So, Tony doesn't really win. I think now MJF and Omega, yes, they did great, but I don't want to even give that to Tony because I don't even think Tony should have booked this match on free TV. I think you threw away millions and millions of dollars by booking this match this way. You could have sold out a 100,000-seat arena based on their two names facing off for the first time in a title match.
I definitely do not disagree at all.
Anyways,
even for giggles, I couldn't argue against that. I couldn't troll you on that.
I wonder if Jane can try and figure out a way out of that one. Anywho, Before the match, we get Joe talking to MJF. I'll be your friend. I'll help you out. Do I get my title match? And he's like, no, I can see you're upset. But hey, if in your match you're wrestling, if you need me, just scream my name and I'll come help you. Anyways, Jim Ross was out to help out the commentary team. And here's the main event match, the AEW World Heavyweight title on the line, even though neither man's carrying the belt down the ring because some other guy has the belt, Jay White. And, of course, we get the holy shit chants, and we get what you expect between Omega and MJF. We get a match of a lifetime. We get a really good match. We got all the high points of finish maneuvers, kick out, finish maneuver, kick outs, V trigger here, V trigger there, V trigger everywhere. Oh, Tony Khan had a wrestling company. E-I-E-I-O. Anywho, it was a good, solid match. You can't knock that it wasn't a solid match. It's just, MJF wins too. Let's get to that. I'm going ahead of myself. MJF wins after he hits a Panama. Oh, he goes for the first Panama Sunrise. Omega gets out of it. Then he sets him back up. Goes for a Panama Sunrise. Doing it for Adam Cole. Then he hit the Heat Seeker. MJF gets a 1-2-3 at 30 minutes 15 seconds. A tremendous match. At the end of this, MJF and Kenny Omega do their moments. They embrace. They shake hands. You can see MJF basically thanking Kenny Omega for this. This felt totally like a torch passing ceremony. Now MJF will be the longest reigning AEW champion. And then after all that, we got to see Samoa Joe watching the match. We got to see Hobbs watching the match. We saw the Bullet Club sitting in the back watching the match. So that was we got Wardlow standing there in the back. They keep calling him the Beast. Oh, he's a beast. He's a beast. I'm like, Wardlow is no beast. Wardlow has done nothing since he's returned. Just because he squashes some underrated guys. He's squashed Griff Garrison, some other person whose name I can't remember, and now the Ryan Nemeth. Ryan Nemeth. I'm supposed to look at him as a beast. Oh, he shoulder tackled, I guess, Tony Schiavone and flipped him upside down and made Tony Schiavone know what a 360, 450, 890, whatever it is, flip was like. Anyways, the match was good. MJF and Kenny Omega did exactly what we expected them to go out there and do. They delivered exactly what they were going to do, but this was not the place, the date, the time to do this. I think Tony Khan forgot how many days MJF had been champion and was like, oh, wait, I need to jump on this. And I think that's why we got this match in the weirdest way we did. Because it was last minute built. They had not upsold this match. I don't have them recalling any time in the recent past that they've talked about how long MJF's been champion. Then all of a sudden, it just seems like somebody's like, oh, MJF's about to pass Omega's title reign. And then it was like, oh, we need to put that on TV or we need to talk about it because it was just kind of random.
Weeks ago when they first said, 13 days, bitch. It's like no one understood what the reference was. It was the following show that's like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
No, because I didn't know when he said 13 days. I'm like, 13 days to what, Halloween? I'd be like, what is 13 days about?
Exactly.
And then they filled us on the next show, and then it was like, oh, okay, Rampage. Now we're okay. It's a title. You're about to beat Omega's record, so we're rushing into a match to put on TV, which should have been a match that you could have put in any arena, any place, anytime. This is a match that could have headlined a WrestleMania. This is a match that could have headlined your All In and Wimbledon next year. This could have been an event that you could have gone to the biggest arena in the world. You could have gone anywhere in the world. You could have found max capacity, and you would have sold it out. You would have had people there to come watch based on that one match, Omega versus MJF. You gave it away on free TV. You're not going to be able to return to that match in a long time because MJF won cleanly. There's nothing for. But here's the stupid part: Don Callis came out with a screwdriver when Omega was about to hit a one-winged angel, and then Don Callis didn't even do anything. Didn't even have any outcome in the match except that he stopped Omega from hitting a one-winged angel, and in the end, MJF beat Omega cleanly. And so you don't have Omega doesn't really have any grounds for a rematch. Omega doesn't really have any contention. Of course, they did the whole almost a patching the torch ceremony. So it's just like and none of it made sense to me. In the end, it was a good match, but it was. I thought you wasted an opportunity.
Oh, for sure. We were saying before off air that it's a wasted. He left a lot of money on the table, whether it was a pay-per-view or whether it was. There's so many other ways this could have played out, so they could have at least continued to be able to make money with this match, and they just put it on free TV, and like you said, MJF went over clean. So it's like, yeah, they can revisit this match down the line, but it's gonna be a while if they want it to make sense and make money again. They have to really build something.
Oh yeah, and it really has.
Who knows if Tony Khan has those booking prowess, because he's been disappointing us more and more for a while now.
You ready for the kicker? Because I had to look this up because this was my other complaint. It's like you wasted time. The arena was set up for 3,997 people. So if they sold out, they sat 4,000 people basically. A match that I think you could have sold out at 10,000, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000 seat venue. You were set up for 4,000 people. And that goes on Tony Khan. That is solely on the shoulders of Tony Khan booking a match like this at a venue that you're not set up to make the biggest amount of money you're going to make. Now they may have added.
Good. And here's the thing: it's not like we're anything professional in the respect of knowing how the wrestling business works, how tickets are sold, etc., etc. But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that these are two of the top talents that you could have really built a good story around and made more in arena money, let alone pay-per-view money. It does not take a rocket scientist to know that, to figure that one out.
I'm sorry. I would have been happy if he would have trolled us. If he would have set this match up and it had Don Callis, Samoa Joe, Wardlow, whoever come down and basically throw this match out, to have this match be thrown out, and then either add Omega to the MJF, Jay White Omega match, make it a triple threat for Full Gear, or hold Omega and MJF until your next pay-per-view now in December, at World's End, I think it is. That was officially announced. So, I mean, you had ample opportunity to take this to a pay-per-view match. Like, I don't even get why you had this match clean and end the way it did. Like, I'm like, okay, you really wanted this match to be like it was. And I'm sure Tony Khan's going to brag on Twitter about how this was the greatest collision ever. This was the greatest match of all times. We did great business, yada, yada. As much as he just said that last night's Rampage was one of the best of 2023. Last night's Rampage was far from the best anything. It was a show that was mid. There's not even anything spectacular to talk about, except Abaddon had won her 4-way dance to get a title match tonight, where you just made it look like a total waste of time. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. I need somebody to give me some type of answer in this. I don't know.
Translation: make it make sense.
Thank you all who watched AEW Collision tonight. Tony Khan on of course X. If you missed this tonight's show with the classic MJF versus Omega World Title bout, Ashita and Abaddon for the Fright Night fights for the DDD title and other things, I thought this was the greatest show tonight. Tony Khan.
Gone to the school of WCW overselling.
The crowd is going wild as Shida retained the AEW World Title, and here's the Timeless One. Well, we know why. They were cheering for the Timeless One. He doesn't say anything about the match, so I see that. Welcome back, LFI. The holy shit chants are justified. MJF MJF Omega match, yes, they were justified. It was the earlier match versus Jay White and AR Fact. I don't know if they were justified in that match. I think AEW fans just get to that awesome. This is awesome chant way too quickly.
You almost want to rephrase that just slightly. It's not AEW fans in general. It's AEW fanboys.
Yeah.
As in the ones that are uber tribalistic about it, if you will. The ones that are like, well, always cheer AEW no matter what they do. Like, no, it's like, I think you and I are AEW fans, but we will also call out what we think doesn't make sense.
I love the sport of professional wrestling. I know there's plenty of people out here who love the sport of professional wrestling. Sports entertainment, professional wrestling, whatever label you're going to put on it. Whatever. We can get in that debate forever if you want to, and that's what the comments down below are for. But I love WWE. I love AEW. I know what WWE brings to the table. Am I more subject to WWE? I know some people say, oh, you accept mediocrity when you give good ratings to WWE for what they give. And I'm like, it's what they give. But I guess with Tony Khan, I expect a little more because he wants to come out and be something better. He's made all these promises. And it's just, it's not there. And then he does these things. And so, if Triple H starts doing dumb stuff, yes, we will hold him just as accountable. It's just right now, Triple H isn't doing a whole lot of just horrible or bad booking that is just over the top. I know some people crapped all over SmackDown last night, saying it was mediocrity, but I thought it was a decent show. It got us to where we needed to. I think Triple H is trying to get through the rest of this year before building to WrestleMania. Now that he's finally in control. But AEW and Tony Khan wants to be this guy who thinks he can do this, and time again, I'm sorry, he doesn't show it, and I am going to hold him accountable. This being a prime example, when you put MJF and Omega on a TV show for a match that should have been pay-per-view level, when you want to sit here and talk about making the greatest shows, about being the best, about being the best booker this year, it's like, just because you can book this match doesn't mean that makes you a great booker. Booking this match with some substance other than the names. Yes, you can book this on the names, but a little more substance and a little more booking of right time, right place. This was not the right time and right place. And then when you are constantly being told that you don't know how to build a book a women's division and you keep floundering on it and you give us a match like tonight for a women's title that was not at all good and did not make either of the contenders shine or stand out or make anybody really want to go out and see them. And you could have very well hurt, for people who don't know who Abaddon is, hurt her image, because if this is people's first exposure and they're like, they're not going to tune in next time she's on TV because they've had a bad experience in a match that was not set up for anybody to really come out looking good. And that is what's wrong. And right now it looks like even Sheeta is being a placeholder for the timeless one, Tony Storm, to become champion again. That's how it really feels to me, the way that this is kind of all being booked. He's putting so much time and effort every show. The timeless one, Tony Storm, has been on every show. And I know some people like the character. I like the character gimmick. But again, too much can be too much. I mean, she's getting silent vignettes in the commercial breaks almost every show. So, I mean, it's like, it feels like they're just building her to be the one that's going to take the belt off Sheeta. And then where does her storyline go? We got a big match at All In with Saraya, and then she dropped the title, and she's kind of disappeared on TV. I don't even know. And she's supposedly not injured, so I don't know. The way he books women's titles or women's matches, period, it's just not. I'm sorry. I love the world of professional wrestling. I've grown up in this business. I've watched the good. I watched bad. Hell, I was watching this in the early 90s when you had some of the worst character gimmicks that were just like, okay, we had a Duster Man, we had a clown, we had a man named Mantar, we had a Bastion Booger, and I was watching WCW. I said the Dumpster Man, the dumpster. We had,
oh, my bad.
And I was watching WCW on Saturday nights, when you had like a Vinny Vegas and a Diamond Stud and Tara Rising and stuff that was bad. I mean, I was watching some of the stuff that Dusty was booking. I remember watching the White Castle with Vader and all this crazy stuff back in the day. I was watching GWF, or GFW, not Global Force. What was it? Global Wrestling Federation on ESPN back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Where the Patriot, where I remember first seeing the Patriot and some of these stuff. Hell, I think it's where I even saw some of Eddie Gilbert and whatnot.
Harlem Heat was there.
Harlem Heat and
X-Pac-
Colonel
X-Pac
Robert
before he was
Parker.
X-Pac.
Yes, 1-2-3 Kid, or the Lightning Kid at that time. He
Lightning
was
Kid.
there.
Yeah, Lightning.
The Patriot was originally there. A lot of the names that
Mm.
came along later. So I've seen bad wrestling. I've seen bad booking. I've seen horrible. Hell, WCW had Arachna Man. You know, who else did they have? I mean, they had some bad gimmicks in WCW. So I've been around for some stuff. Okay, it's not like I just started watching wrestling yesterday. I have seen every WrestleMania. That is for sure. I used to watch the old Coliseum home videotapes, so even the ones that weren't even pay-per-view events. But anywho, I love this business. I want what's best for this business. If Tony Khan is going to bring AEW to be competition, then I want him to get out there and do it. And when you tell me you didn't sell more than 4,000 seats and you had Kenny Omega and MJF as your main event for the AEW title, you're wrong. I'm sorry. That's just, if you're going to give it away on free TV, pack out that freaking stadium. And I don't even think you did that. You didn't. I don't know. Mr. Clarke.
I don't even know where to go from there. Because it's just, you made every point that there can be. At this point, there's nothing I disagree with you on. I don't know where. I mean, when it's to the point when we feel like we could do a better job booking than the person who's actually been around all these great minds, he has all these resources available to him. Whether you're talking monetary, whether you're talking about business minds, wrestling minds, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, how are you effing up this badly?
Yeah. Well, and then you got to answer the question: how did Tony Khan do 956,000 people in the first half hour of Dynamite this week? Then after the first 30 minutes, he lost over 200,000 viewers. What is he doing wrong? And of course, a lot of people are pointing at all the older guys came out. That's after when we had Sting and Ric Flair and all the older veteran names that start making it feel like a reproduction of WCW. I think there's a good place for veterans, but I think you got to have a balance. And I don't think Tony Khan is bringing the younger guys along other than maybe a Darby Allin and MJF. We haven't seen Jungle Boy since his incident. We don't know if we'll ever see Jungle Boy again at this point. I don't know. You have many talents in the former Jericho Appreciation Society that you just kind of have dangling out there. Is Sammy Guevara hurt? Why has he not been around the Don Callis family? I mean, it's like Don Callis went from Sammy to Guevara to Powerhouse Hobbs, so I'm not.
I believe he's injured. I don't recall exactly.
Or did they just have their baby? Did him and Mello just have their baby, maybe? Maybe that's why. I don't know.
That's possible.
It's just, there's so many younger talent on that card, and then you have the Ring of Honor people that have a lot of young talent. And I mean, and then we're getting guys like Nick Wayne that we're getting a little backstory of, but then we're having his mom brought in and her mom slap. And it's just like, this is cringy TV. And
talk about WCW vibes.
Oh. If Miguel was here, he'd be swearing Nick Wayne's mom's going to wind up on a forklift. That's for you, Lord. Miguel.
You're not even on the show or in the chat, but you're still fired.
If you're going to do it right.
Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Value Rest. Go ahead.
I was like, what is this, Friday? How do you get fired on your day off?
Man, you know it. Man, how you get fired on your day off? Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Value of Wrestling. This is where we have fun. This is where we enjoy you being a part of this show. Definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're here now, or if you join us later when you're catching up on this. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're on our way to 500 subscribers, and we need each and every one of you to help us by hitting that subscribe button. Gets us up there in the algorithm. Make sure you hit that like button, because that'll definitely throw us up in the algorithm. Ring that bell for notifications, because you never know when new video, new content, new stuff is going to come up. And, of course, whenever we go live. And speaking of live, tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be live with the weekly roundup. Yes, we will be doing the weekly roundup as usual, but this week's weekly roundup will be a complete roundup of everything that went on in the world of wrestling. We will talk more about some of the contracts that are coming up in WWE. How do we all feel about that? What do we feel is going wrong with Tony Khan in this week's type of Dynamite? There's probably other news. We're going to learn a little bit about New Japan Pro Wrestling this week, as Miguel will be joining us. and he will have his little segment to kind of catch people up on what's happening in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He'll also be talking about his new program where he's going to teach us about superstars of New Japan. There is one up there if you want to learn about the Rainmaker himself, Okada. There's a nice little video package there. Take your time out and check that out. But we'll be here live tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time to go over the weekly roundup, all the news, all that stuff. And, of course, you never know when a new program is going to drop. Mr. Clarke, is there anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Tomorrow afternoon, noon Pacific Standard Time. Be there for the Weekly Roundup podcast.
You know it. Ladies and gentlemen, as I always say, and as we always know, until the next episode, it's time for me and him. Say bye-bye. You know it.